Alright, so this is the starting point. You're loading on top of this little, trying to put your film in this little V right here. So what I'm doing is I make this into basically a C. You know, so I orientate it so it looks like a C. This goes over here. And I take the film, go like over the top of the C, and bring it back and tuck it into this little V, right? So it's held. Then I push it down into these grooves. These grooves are here to separate the film so the chemicals can get to it, very similar to the photo one we just looked at. So once we get in there, the key here is to keep tension, right? Keep some tension on that. Put this on top. This goes in. You can use it to actually level it, or to line them up. So again, with everything film related, you got to keep tension between the feed reel and the take-up. In this case, this is the take-up reel. So you want to have this turned a little bit, like kind of horizontal, so it feeds through this opening. And then this, you can now see how the turntable makes your life easier.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Before, it was scraping on the counter.
Yeah.
Like this cut pad was an addition to help it like turn better.
Yeah.
So also the film that I'm using is a dummy load that's been used 20 times, and it's got some sprocket damage and splices. So if you have a problem loading it now, you won't have that same problem when you're loading your own film, because this thing's got a bunch, yeah. So if there's an issue here, it's because there's thick parts of the film. So I can see what I'm doing here, but in the dark you can't, and you don't have, at this point you don't have a sense of how full this thing is if you've never done this before.
Yeah.
So I just, at some point, like, will check with my pinky. Don't push the film because you can knock it off those grooves.
Yeah.
And I can see I'm going to have some problems because there's all these splices here. Oh, that's doing all right. Okay, so when we get close to the end here, again, we can see it, but you'll have to feel it. And what you're feeling for is a groove along the outside edge. Right there it is. That's where your film's going to end. So I'm going to find that groove, and you just feel it in the dark. And you want to break your film right around where that groove's at. You're breaking this because you guys shot 2 discrete rolls, right?
Yeah.
You guys shot, yeah, there should be 10 feet of nothing in between. If you shot this yourself, you wouldn't break it, you would cut it, because it could be in the middle of a shot, you know? And you want to save that. Now, this is up to you. I like to use this to help turn. It's just better leverage, but you do have to separate this one from the bottom, and you can't always hold the bottom part with your finger. It doesn't always work, so that's what these pliers are here for. They're set to the wider setting so you can reach in there and hold that still while you unscrew the top. You get a problem with that, with like finding the pliers and holding that still in the dark, you don't need to put that on there. It's better leverage to turn it with, but you can, especially with the turntable, easily turn it with this. Now, because there's a dummy load, I'm gonna just break that off, so it's just a little easier. Okay. Sometimes you will have some stuff hanging over, and if you're do that with your actual film, you'd rather not have stuff hanging over on the bottom. You want to try to get it lined up as good as you can with that groove. There may be more on top than is going to fit in here. So just remember that the last thing that goes on here is the first thing that you put into your camera.
Yeah.
So you know it's already been exposed. That's the part that's seen light.
Okay.
So you got anything hanging off, just tear it off. There's no images there anyway.
Okay.
So back to the C, right? Remember? And the same thing. You go over that.
Oh, we're gonna do another row?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
I
is
see.
100
Okay.
feet.
All right.
Yeah, so in there, and then tuck that into that groove. Get your tension. Top of the space station. This screws in. And again, keep the tension, and then keep this. Now, when you rub this film, you could scratch it. So you kind of want to handle it as loose as you can, but also keeping it turned. And this is, I'm making this look easy right now, but it's don't feel bad if it's not easy, because it wasn't easy for me to learn. But nobody was there teaching me either, just like watching videos. So. Plus, this little feed rewind and this turntable will make your life a lot easier.
I see you have emulsion out.
I do. That doesn't matter as much. I tend to like, alright. What was I saying, Dana? Oh, that's the end of it because it's we've cut a lot off.
Well, we were talking about the emulsion out.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't necessarily matter. I tend to wind it in the opposite direction that's on here, just so it straightens it out. It's kind of like wrangling a sound cable or something. You over under kind of.
Right.
So this comes off. All this happens in the dark, right? You can put that in there. This you'll find sometimes it'll be like just turn it until it drops, and then all the way until you can pick it up. Now you're safe to turn the light on. And the way that this light works, when you're in here, see it says off is the middle. You want to go all the way up, so there's a light out there that says in use. Okay. So somebody knows you're in here. When you're actually loading your film, lock the door too.
Okay. Yeah.
And at great value.
So, and this is the dark too, right?
Huh?
This is the
No. But because the stuff's getting older, we'll be extending the developing time and the bleach time.
Okay.
So the first developer, the bleach, and the second developer, we're going to do longer than this calls for. So
D19 and bleach.
you just fill this up
Okay.
and then just soak it for 5 minutes.
Okay, good.
So normally, you saw like supposed to go there, and then it feeds up to there. This is here for the purpose of draining. We use these for storage too, but they really help with the draining. So this one, the water, it's gonna go down the sink. It's gonna look it's gonna look purple. It's funny, when it first comes out, you're like, oh, I thought it was water. And then you're gonna do the D19, that goes back in the container, in the water for 3 minutes, and that goes down the sink. The bleach goes back in the container, water back down the sink. Clearing bath goes down the sink, and then you re-expose it, and then second developer goes back into the container, water down the sink. Fixer can go back in the tank. We'll just have to make sure we test it before we do that. Final rinse. Usually it's 7 minutes, but it's gonna be more like 7 minutes and 45 seconds, right?
Yeah.
When you turn it on, it counts, and then when it gets to the end, you know, it will buzz for you. Just turn it off. Developer and bleach, you want to agitate the most, so it's like turning it clockwise, and they sometimes up and down. All of them, but mainly the water, not as much. The rinsing, you can do a little bit less, but definitely developer and the bleach. So as you're working with it, the gravity obviously keeps it from spilling out. But when you're ready to like move on to the next step, this has to come out. When it's getting to the end, you just got to use gravity, make sure it all gets out. Sometimes it's worth it to spin the film all the way, make sure that all of it comes out. And then after each chemical process, you do a water process too.
Okay.
Which is, a water step, which is also a chemical, but just the water. So nothing else besides the timer. So we let that run for a minute, and when you get to measuring the chemicals, we turned off our yellow line. Look at that.
Okay, so we turn this off, right?
Yeah. Just drying that off. You don't have to do too much agitation with pre-soak, but yeah. Music is good. I was watching it, but I think where I messed up, we shot a roll for cinematography. We had shot like a scene from David Lynch's Eraserhead. And I was like watching a TV show while I was processing and totally skipped a step. So don't get too confident.
So does he need to do more agitation?
Nah,
That's enough?
it's okay. Yeah. Just for the developer, we'll do that.
So we're just waiting now, 5 minutes.
So it's not like
Everything comes out and until you're ready for it to come out. And then, yeah, just let it in there.
That's
Just for
water.
if it wasn't water.
Yeah, if it wasn't water, see, it's also, it says a little purple. One water, like, we're going to keep that long. You got this thing. Yeah. That helps out. And if I want to hold this thing, I can run it into one of those holes, you know. The place where it gets kinked is here. So
Yeah.
kind of want to like make sure that kink doesn't hold you up. And as it gets closer, yeah, it's mostly just water, so you don't be too careful. All right. I'll set the timer for you, but go ahead and, it says 7 minutes, but I told you we're gonna do 7:45.
Yes.
Yeah, but stuff doesn't always look that way.
This color?
Yeah.
It doesn't look, looks like apple cider.
It's still gonna work. I wouldn't drink it either.
Definitely.
So this is the D19?
Yep.
Okay. And the idea is to make it so it doesn't overflow, right?
Yeah, but I think we measured it out. That's what that line's for. There you go. All right. It's running, so now you want to agitate it. You just want to keep going. Now you want to get it going. Down a little bit.
Okay.
Really, if you really want the, you gotta think about how you're trying to get the chemicals to hit everything, you know,
Okay.
evenly.
Only one way though?
Only to the right, yeah. Only to the right. Otherwise, I'm gonna rinse this. You always want to rinse this in between because you know you don't want developer and bleach mixing together. Let's go everywhere once you get to the end there. Shower. Here, no, thanks. Need it again.
Oh, we could reuse it?
Yeah. Matter of fact, you go down the same way, it's now we're back into here. But I'm gonna start, go ahead and see, 3 minutes. So I'm gonna start the water rinse and we can funnel for that real quick.
So he's gonna pour this back in this.
Yeah, we could actually just put directly in there the hose, but this is gonna be
Oh, I
fine.
see.
I got it. Go ahead and oh good, the hose is already up. Once that fills up, then keep letting it run, but just put the hose down so it'll just rinse it out, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And then you can do some agitation. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And we'll put this there just so it gets out of your hair a little bit. And then if you get the water like there, you can do some agitation maybe. Alright. Yeah, we'll use this one more time. We'll let you agitate it for a little bit, and then we'll run some more water through there. Just let the hose back down. Yeah, there you go. More than we thought. So it says 7 minutes, but I told you we're gonna do 7:45.
Yes.
Alright.
Is that the bleach?
It is.
Yeah, it looks kinda.
It's starting to go, yeah. It needs to be oranger.
This is the kind of chemical you don't want to splash up on yourself.
Too much, yeah. It's not like it's gonna eat your skin away, but it could make you itch. So you just like rinse it off. No. I think those days are over.
Yeah.
I think maybe somebody's grandfather had a Super 8 can. Alright. Okay. Now we're gonna do the same kind of run the water. Let's go fast. I'm gonna go, I just wanna get it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you gotta slow this up now.
And what's the temperature that you're mixing?
Oh, room temperature.
Okay.
Cap off of there. You
Yeah.
can still see it as pretty yellow.
Yeah.
Good for put it back up to this.
Yeah. To that line, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Clearing bath. You do want to agitate that, and that's 3 minutes, right? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right, now we can
This is
do.
the fun part. We're gonna expose it now?
Yeah, it's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, wait for it. Also, the ends are going to be like less imagey.
The ends.
So it's all foggy and everything.
You did pretty good with the load. All right, let's let the light get to it. All right, I see some frames coming in.
Oh,
Frames are good.
Okay, good.
Take a frame. All right, let's see. But
emulsion in the celluloid side, the base. Base is the gray, the yellow is the celluloid, I mean
The emulsion, yeah.
emulsion side.
if the fixer, so if the fixer is expired, you gotta dump it. You dump it in here.
In here. Okay.
It goes in these tanks down here.
Oh, and this part here?
Yeah. And it goes in these tanks, these reclaiming tanks.
Ah.
And at the very end, we dry it, which we just kind of figured out yesterday. I was thinking about this. I used to make everybody, you're supposed to like hang all your films. So you'd like
Yeah.
run it up and down because these things are made just for strips of film. But like, we would like go down, up,
Yeah.
turn the heat on. But then we realized, just put this whole thing in because it's already separated.
Yeah. And
As long as it's not on high heat, it's not going to mess the plastic up. So with this in there, we just put that in there and then low heat, like 3, and then crank this up. It's going to be in there for a while. The only reason why it was wet this morning is because I put it back in